My name is Alexei, and I feel compelled to share with you a chilling encounter that unfolded in my life, one that continues to haunt my sleepless nights. This story is a deep scar etched into the fabric of my existence, and I can only hope that by recounting it, I might find some semblance of closure. A few years ago, I inhabited a solitary existence in a centuries-old countryside villa, located on the outskirts of a quaint European village. The dwelling exuded an atmosphere steeped in history and tranquility, which generally brought me solace. However, it was one fateful autumn evening that the tranquility I had grown accustomed to was abruptly shattered, ushering in a nightmarish sequence of events. As night descended upon the villa, I retired to my bedroom, prepared to surrender to the embrace of sleep. The room was bathed in the gentle glow of the moonlight, and a soft breeze wafted through the half-open window, causing the curtains to sway like ghostly apparitions. Suddenly, an inexplicable chill pierced the room, settling over me like an icy shroud, and a shiver coursed through my body. I opened my eyes abruptly to survey my surroundings, yet the window was securely shut, and the heater functioned impeccably. The cold lingered, intensifying as if an unseen presence had seeped into the very walls of the villa. My gaze darted around the room, searching for answers, but then it fixed upon a shadowy corner. In that desolate nook, a faint, eerie light materialized, casting a spectral radiance. As the light grew more pronounced, a silhouette began to take form, and the sight that met my eyes sent a paralyzing fear coursing through my veins. In the dark abyss of my room, the figure of a person emerged, his presence unmistakable. I felt a lump in my throat, for I recognized the silhouette as that of a dear friend whom I had mourned as lost for many years. With a trembling voice, I inquired, "Who's there yet?" My words were met with silence, the apparition simply observing me unflinchingly. My heart raced, and a feeling of dread clawed at my chest. It was then that the room's ceiling light, without any apparent cause, suddenly blazed to life. The harsh illumination allowed me to discern the face of my friend, and, to my astonishment, his visage had transformed. His skin appeared wizened, ashen, and decayed, his eyes emanating an unnatural coldness that seemed to pierce my very soul. But this was just the beginning. The light fixture began to quiver, and the countenance of my friend warped grotesquely. His face was marred by a gaping maw, revealing rows of rotted teeth. The realization struck me with an overwhelming sense of terror. The apparition was not my friend. It was something far more sinister, wearing his likeness to torment me. In an instant, the light extinguished, plunging my room into absolute darkness. Panic overcame me, and I hastily drew the covers over my head, my breath ragged. For what felt like an eternity, I lay in the inky blackness, keenly aware that the presence lingered nearby, its very breath brushing against my neck. I was being watched, monitored, and my fear was its sustenance. When dawn finally broke, I fled the villa, never to return yet. The malevolent memory lingers, and each night I am haunted by that gruesome shadow. I remain baffled by the entity's intentions and its sinister desire. This tale remains a vivid, nightmarish memory of an inexplicable and unsettling encounter, one that defies all logical explanation. A few years ago, Late at night, I was driving on a long highway. The weather was cold and rain was falling, reducing visibility significantly. The car's headlights were shining on the wet road, and my eyes were tired. Suddenly, I noticed the silhouette of a tall man in front of me. I quickly slowed down the car and passed by the man. At first, I thought he was just a pedestrian, but something felt wrong. His face was covered, and his clothes, despite the cold and rainy night, seemed oddly neat. I came to a complete stop and looked back and saw that the man was continuing to walk along the road. What was he doing there? I drove the car backward and rolled down the window, offering to help. However, he remained silent and didn't turn his covered face towards me. At that moment, the rain started pouring even harder, soaking me. I offered him a ride, and he silently accepted. He got into the car, and we continued the journey together as he sat beside me. I couldn't help but wonder who he was and why he was on this road at this hour. But I didn't dare to ask because the atmosphere had suddenly become terrifying. For a few minutes we drove in silence. Then, out of the blue, he smiled, and his smile was terrifying. Deep shadows under his eyes gave him a sinister look. "Now that you've seen me, I must show you my true face," he said. He started to remove the mask that covered his face. Terrified and shocked, I pulled the car over and quickly got out. He, too, jumped out of the car and began running towards the center of the road. I hid behind the car and watched him. He stood in the middle of the road for a while and then disappeared rapidly. I hurriedly got back into the car and, still in shock, continued my journey for hours. I never understood who that tall man was, why he was on the road, or why he kept his face covered. Since that night, I've continued to think about that tall man and the fear of that moment. I've tried to figure out what I might have seen or whom I might have encountered, but there are no answers. This incident remains a mysterious enigma that continues to haunt me, even in my dreams every night. Our holiday in the seaside town was supposed to be a peaceful retreat with its beautiful beaches, tranquil atmosphere, and serene ocean views. During the first few days of our vacation, we relished in the simple pleasures of basking in the sun on the sandy shores, listening to the rhythmic lull of the waves and taking refreshing dips in the cool sea. We could not have foreseen that our vacation would begin with such an unforgettable encounter. One morning, I woke up early and decided to take a leisurely walk along the shore. There's something incredibly soothing about walking by the sea, and the first light of day was casting a warm, gentle glow over the ocean. The breeze tousled my hair, and the scent of salt water filled the air, providing a refreshing start to my day. After walking for about 2 hours, it was nearly sunrise, and that's when I noticed something peculiar among the rocky outcrops. There, standing amidst the jagged rocks, was a figure dressed in a long, flowing black cloak with a deep hood casting a shadow over their face. Couldn't make out their features, but their imposing stature and unusual presence were immediately noticeable. At first, I dismissed the figure as a local resident or perhaps a town guardian, responsible for the safety of the beach. It seemed reasonable that they might be here at this hour for their duties. With that thought, I continued my walk and paid no further attention to their presence. However, a few hours later, the same figure appeared once more. This time they were closer, and their gaze was fixated on me. The inability to see their face made me increasingly uneasy. It was as if this person was silently watching and observing me, but they hadn't made any threatening gestures or actions. Over the course of a few days, I noticed that the mysterious figure was consistently positioned near the same set of rocks, and they continued to watch me. I refrained from engaging with them, preferring instead to ponder their intentions. The local residents and other vacationers seemed unaware of this person's presence and lacked information about their identity or purpose. It was baffling, as nobody seemed to acknowledge or know anything about them. As the days went on, I grew increasingly apprehensive and perplexed about the intentions of this enigmatic figure. Every encounter with them left me feeling more uneasy. I attempted to unveil their face, but it eluded me each time. Their presence and actions remained a puzzle. As our vacation drew to a close, I finally spoke with a local resident, who informed me that the mysterious figure was the lighthouse keeper for the area. However, even with this explanation, I found it difficult to be entirely reassured. I still had questions about this person's true purpose and why they behaved the way they did. The mystery surrounding this individual cast a shadow over our holiday, making it difficult to fully enjoy the serene and picturesque setting. This story delves into the presence of the mysterious figure and my attempts to understand their actions and intentions during the vacation. The lingering uncertainty about who they were and why they were there remained unanswered, making this experience an enduring enigma.